Hello everyone and welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today. Isn't it a beautiful day? It really is idyllic. There's very little wind, it's nice and bright, and it's quite warm, so it's absolutely fantastic. However, I'm not out at the ideal time to do wildlife photography today. I've got a few hours, a small window of opportunity, and even though I'm out a bit earlier than I would like to be, it's the only time that I can manage today, and it is just so beautiful I decided to come out. So it could be a waste of time regarding getting good images. However, it's never a waste of time being out, getting some exercise, spending some time with the camera and exploring. And I'm going to try and use my time wisely today. Even if I don't get any nice photographs, I'm hoping to learn something about this area, which I've never been in today. So I'm at the edge of a field. I'm keeping well off the field, and I think there's a bit of potential here. So I'm going to move along a bit and see if I can find a nice spot to settle down, and I'll spend some time here observing and see what happens. So I've got myself in position, and I'm not as well covered as I could be. I could obviously go into what's behind me and get a bit more cover, but the reason I'm not doing that is that I just want to stay at the edge of the field. If anything comes out of the trees in the distance towards me, I'm going to have plenty of time to get in more cover if I need it. However, I'm quite low down here, and I think I'm going to be quite well hidden anyway. I've got on some camouflage and I'm not going to be moving. So today, as I said, it's just about trying to get this this few hours of enjoyment, being out, try and do some wildlife photography. If I see things, that'll be great. If I don't, I don't. But just try and get a little bit more knowledge about what could be in the area. I'm listening to the sounds. I've already heard a buzzard calling off in the distance this direction. It's not moving. The sound has been quite consistent, so it's not changed direction or distance to me. So no sign of it, but I know that's around. I could potentially see deer. There'll be other small birds and so on going around. So it's just about trying to gain some more knowledge about the place and be in a position where I might not get my best photographs today, but I can see plenty of what's around me. And I'm also wanting to keep an eye on what's off to my left, and if I get too concealed behind the area here, I'm going to be more restricted in what I can see off to the left and also to my right. The area to my right is quite important as well. So I'm just going to stay here. I think this is a nice spot, enjoy some of the sunshine and see what happens. So I hope you can still see me in the camera. You may be able to see some telephone lines that are running across behind me here. So I was sat where you are just now in the camera, and I could hear a noise behind me. It's not the bird that I'm hearing at the moment, but I looked back and there was a beautiful small bird up on these wires. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, what it is. I would need to identify it. But yeah, I took some images, and to be crystal clear, they're not good photographs, but it was such a nice little bird. And this is the type of thing I like to do today, is keep some record shots of what I've actually seen, and then I can come back at a better time and hopefully take some better images of what I've seen today. There's also quite a lot of heat haze some atmospheric conditions today. It's unusually warm for the time of year, so yeah, there's a lot of shimmering. But anyway, I'm glad I just took my camera off the tripod and got a few quick shots of this. Definitely not the type of thing I like taking a bird on a telegraph wire, but a beautiful small bird nonetheless. Perhaps my shot could have been affected slightly by the distortion. The other thing that taking this photograph has helped me learn or confirm today, I did hear some buzzards, and there's two circling up in the air in this direction, a long way away. Not any point taking any photographs, but yeah, quite nice to see these things and just increase my knowledge of what I could get here photographically in the future. I'm now back in position at my tripod, and what I'm watching here at the moment, and I have to really be observant, is the field in front of me about 30 to 35 yards away. There were a couple of small birds just as I was getting my camera back on the tripod, hovering around. They just come in quickly, briefly hovered perhaps 10 feet apart, and then both of them went down into the field. And I assume it's corn that's in the field. Unfortunately, they're not sitting atop the corn. They've went much further down, perhaps onto the ground. Vanished out of sight. Can't get any photographs, but I know they're there. And I just have a feeling that if I take my eyes off this spot, they're going to come up, go up into the sky and just take off, and it won't be a nice photograph. But potentially, if I could get them before they gain too much elevation just above the corn, it could make for a nice shot. But I'm very much aware that I may not see those birds again, but they definitely went down and vanished in the corn. While all of that is going on, I've been hearing bird noise behind me, so it's tempting to turn my attention this direction, but I know I'll miss an opportunity in front of me. So it's just something that no photographs may come of this, but it's interesting to know that, you know, those birds are there. And yeah, it's just helping me gain a little bit more knowledge about the type of images that I could capture in this area. So at the moment I'm recording some video. I've been quite intensely watching the field in front of me. As I said, they're about 30-35 yards away, the area that these two birds went into very quickly. And after much observing, ready to take some photographs of some interesting action happen. It would have been quite a nice shot with the two birds together. One of them took up and instantly gained a lot of height, went away from me and landed on what I think is another telegraph wire, or yeah, I think it's a telegraph wire. So it's a day of birds being far away, small birds landing on wires, not making great photographs, and my surroundings affected by heat haze. So yeah, you can't win them all, but as I said, this is more just about making the most of a few hours that I've got spare today. I can't get out at the optimal time, and just trying to learn about the area. So it's really nice just to sit and observe all these things. I think as a wildlife photographer, it's important to always remind yourself that you're not going to get fantastic images every time that you're out, and today that was never my goal, but I'm certainly seeing things and hearing things that make me want to come back here at a better time. But fingers crossed, you never know. A nice image is never that far away at times, so yeah, we'll see what happens. So in terms of the time I've got available today, I think I've got about 50 minutes to an hour maximum left, and I feel I've learned quite a lot about this location. Something that I'm keen to come back and investigate is over in this direction above the trees. I've seen a buzzard circling quite a few times, and that's the direction I heard it calling when I first arrived, and then I could hear the call coming from over this direction, and I've seen it just above the treetops over there. So I think potentially that's an area that I could get to quite easily, and maybe get some nice shots of the buzzard another time. Not of great interest to me, but there's been a wren behind me as well. I could hear it constantly, although I couldn't see it. And yeah, there's a few things that's inspired me to come back. I've also seen, as I said earlier, buzzard in this direction. But what I'm going to do at the moment, I don't think there's much benefit to me staying here. For the remainder of the time that I've got left, I've been hearing a lot of small birds, maybe about 150 yards over to my right. And what I can see there are what I suspect are some beautiful rowan berries that they're sort of going around, and they're also going on to the neighbouring trees. So I'm going to go over there, see if I can get any nice photographs to finish this little session, because it's been quite nice to be out today, even though so far I've got no photographs that are of any particular interest to me. But I'm not sure if the light's going to be the optimal direction, but I definitely think it's worth looking. So I'm going to make my way over there, and I'll catch up with you in just a second. So behind me here is one of the trees that I saw from the distance. It's got all these wonderful red berries on it, and the birds, the small birds that I've seen from a long way away, have been sort of going into neighbouring trees, some of the pine trees, these trees as well, and I can also hear a stream, so there's a water source, so it makes sense that there's a few small birds around this area. So what I'm going to do is just explore along this area, and the light's not ideal. A lot of this area is in the shade, but I'm going to have a look around, see if I can find any of these small birds, and hopefully finish the day before I have to go off with a photograph or two. So you'll see that I'm now back finishing this video at the point where I started, and I want to have an honest chat. I think it's very important to always be honest in life, and honest about my photography. So I have a few thoughts running through my head at the moment which I want to share, and I'm honestly thinking, and I'm honestly unsure. I'm hearing birds off to my right. I'm honestly unsure if I'm going to edit this video or if it will ever appear on my YouTube channel, and I want to try and explain that why as quick as possible. Today I came out not at the optimal time. I had a window of a few hours, and it was either go out, scout, look at a new location, try and make best use of my time, or it was don't go out, don't make the effort. So as I always try to do, I went out. And I think from the point of view of what I set out to achieve, it's been a very successful day. But in terms of photography, it's been atrocious, and I sort of suspected that could well be the case. I came out to look at a new location. I just went to have a look around the trees with the berries, seen a long-tailed tit, seen some other tiny bird. It was like lightning, couldn't identify it. No good photographic opportunities. And then across a very dark valley, I seen a bird vanish into a very large berry covered tree, and I thought it was a kestrel. About 3 minutes later, out it came, again very close to a dark valley background, no photographic opportunities, and off it went, but I could see it was a kestrel. So I'm now excited. I've got a project that I'm working on. I will be for a long time, photographing kestrel, and to know there's one or two, potentially maybe more, in this area, I'm really excited. I'll come back and try and work more at finding the kestrels and seeing where they go in this area. When I come back here, I said in the video I've been hearing and seeing buzzards off in this direction all day. Well, I actually saw 3 in the sky at once when I come back. So I'm really excited about that. And just hang on a second. You're not going to believe this, but as I'm talking, there's one in a pole over here. I think it's an electricity pole. I'm going to take an image. It's miles away in a little bit of video, and I'll get back to this in a second. In a few moments you will hear me say, while back on location, that I liked the composition of this photo, and you may sense that I had a feeling I was quite happy with it. Now, after seeing the photo on my computer, and with a very small amount of editing, I have to say that I really like this photo. I do think it needs to be viewed large to be fully appreciated, so for example a large print would work very well. I like capturing wildlife in their environment, but typically none of the environment is man-made. However, on this occasion I saw the opportunity to create an effective composition, and what you are seeing is how I framed the scene in camera with no cropping. There is a lot that I like about this image, with many things being quite subtle. I think the colours in this scene work very well together. The bird and the structure stand out well against the soft blue sky with its subtle streaks of white clouds. I enjoy how the direction the bird is facing aligns with the flow of nearby cables. The quality and direction of the light is really nice, and there is a catch light in the bird's eye. Can you see the subtle diagonal shadows on the wooden poles caused by the nearby wires? A sharp, detailed photograph is certainly not always a good photograph, but I also enjoy looking closely at this image as it shows so much detail in the bird and the structure too. Overall, I am really pleased with this completely unexpected photograph. Well, that was a little bit of excitement there. The bird was a long way off, however it was very nice to see it, and quite small in the frame, but sometimes I like that. I think the composition, although it was not stunning natural scenery, I think it was quite a nice composition. I was able to get in a good spot, so yeah, very interesting to see that. I'm afraid it's made me lose concentration on what I was trying to say in this ending, but in short, I was saying that it's been a very successful day from me in terms of what I saw. I think I managed to mention that I'd seen the kestrel, I'd seen buzzards, and a number of interesting small birds as well. So I'm very keen to come back. But the question that was running through my head is that although this has been fantastic for me, I've really enjoyed it and it's been a great success, for anyone watching on YouTube, would they find it an interesting video? So if this does make it onto YouTube, I'd like to ask you this question. Have you enjoyed watching? Do you feel there's any merit to the occasional video like this? I think it's very important to be honest. I've been honest about when I've been out today, the limited time that I've got and what I was trying to achieve. It's not always about portfolio quality images for me, and sometimes when you're out doing wildlife, even though you go to a fantastic place at the optimal times of day, you're not guaranteed to see anything. And I do know from talking to a lot of people that I've worked with and so on, that they sometimes lack encouragement in their wildlife photography. They get frustrated because they spend so many trips out and they don't always see things or get a nice photograph. And there can be fantastic opportunistic moments where you get a stunning shot, but there can also be a lot of work and repeat visits and planning that go into the very best shot. So if this video does see the light of day on YouTube, it'll be for that reason, just to hopefully encourage a few people and just give a realistic version of what can happen when you're out doing wildlife photography. Wildlife photography is not easy. You can of course point a camera at something and take a picture. But for me personally, if I was out all day and I was doing landscape photography, I'm not guaranteed a portfolio image every time I'm out, but I certainly think I can create a half decent image, whatever that may be, regardless almost of the conditions and so on. But with wildlife, that is definitely not the case. It's definitely harder to get really good images. You can make things easier for yourself by going to certain places and all of that type of thing. But if you're just out exploring nature, you're not at nature reserves, and you're scouting and you're just hoping to learn about the place and find things and work long term at getting images, it's not easy and can take a lot of effort. So a bit of a strange ending, interrupted by me seeing that bird of prey, but I hope it makes sense. And yeah, if this does go onto YouTube, you'll understand. But do share your comments and let me know if you've enjoyed watching this video. I don't plan to put up lots of these if this one ever does see light of day, but it would be interesting to hear people's thoughts. I need to go. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you watching as always, and I hope to see you in my next one.